And that's today's Straight from the Street. Now, Jackie Logan has been the head of the English First Centre in Urumqi, the regional capital of Xinjiang, for the past 5 years. Her centre employs both Han and Uyghur teachers and has students from a variety of ethnic backgrounds. BON's Mark Dreyer spoke to her to get her views on how hard it's been for the different communities in the city over the past few months and how the people there are attempting to rebuild their shattered lives.
In the immediate aftermath of July the 5th, the city was on virtual lockdown. While the ongoing police presence can still make the atmosphere seem a little tense to an outsider, it's a fraction of what it was several weeks ago.
Within the last month, the military have really absolutely moved back and away from sort of like People's Square and a lot of the sort of the more the big areas in the city. There are still some patrols and so on, but the army presence really has almost disappeared off the streets.
To read the Western press back in July, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Xinjiang has been an ethnic tinderbox for years, that the only surprise about the events of the summer is that the riots didn't occur sooner. The head of the English First Centre in Urumqi, though, couldn't be more clear when giving her opinion of that typical Western view.
I would disagree absolutely and completely with that. I mean, I've lived here for 5 years. All of us who'd lived here for quite a long time, when it happened, were incredulous about it. Nothing suggested that something like that was going to happen whatsoever. It was truly out of the blue, really out of the blue.
Logan is no stranger to divided communities, having grown up in Northern Ireland and experienced firsthand decades of appalling violence, known simply as the Troubles.
There definitely are similarities with here and Northern Ireland. Hopefully things will be resolved here in a lot shorter time than it took us in Northern Ireland, which was over 30 years.
And in addition to her experiences back home, Logan is as well placed as anyone to judge how well different ethnic groups in Urumqi got along, having witnessed firsthand both teachers and students of different backgrounds mixing at her centre.
I think the communities have always lived quite well together and coexisted together, so that's why really the events of July the 5th were just such a shock and a surprise to everyone. Within this school, we employ both Han Chinese local teachers and Uyghur teachers, Hui teachers. Our students within the school would be maybe 60% Han Chinese, 40% Uyghur. We've always worked very well together, had great relationships together.
Due to the security crackdown that followed the riots, all that remains of the internet in Xinjiang is an assortment of websites run by the regional government, rather like one large intranet. Residents are unable to receive calls from overseas, text messages have been banned completely. And while in the immediate aftermath, the biggest frustration for residents was being unable to let relatives abroad know they were okay, the continued inability to communicate has led to far more damaging consequences.
Now, really, I think the impact of no internet is it's business that is really being very, very badly affected by it. Certainly in this school where we have to bring foreign teachers in, we have no means of connecting to them or getting them here or bringing them here. So major problem for us and probably for all kinds of local business.
But while a vast number of businesses in Xinjiang are being crippled by the lack of communication with the outside world, despite their problems with recruitment, the English First Centre is, ironically, actually seeing some benefits.
We have now started to pick up hugely. In fact, we're probably attracting more students now than we have for a long time. We've just been thinking about this and talking about this in the business in the last few weeks, and for all the wrong reasons. Actually, we're getting more students because they're all desperate to go and study abroad. A lot of parents are sort of sending teenagers abroad to study as a way out of life here.
Press reports about the situation in Xinjiang have died down considerably, but the problems weren't simply over in a day. Schools and businesses alike were constantly disrupted, with uncertainty continuing throughout the summer on a daily basis, but things have undoubtedly settled down since.
Everybody always is a little bit worried and wondering if anything will happen again. Obviously, we hope that nothing will occur. I think we do have a sense that there's enough security now and security in place to stop anything like that happening again.
Xinjiang isn't the first place in the world to experience deadly ethnic fighting, and it certainly won't be the last. But as with previous conflicts elsewhere, the important thing for the people of Xinjiang is to learn from the past to prevent a repeat in the future. Mark Dreyer, BON.
Well, one thing Jackie touched on, of course, is the lack of internet access in Xinjiang, which is roughly equivalent in size to Alaska. So it's huge. No internet at all, and that's obviously going to have a devastating effect on businesses and tourism. And if they want to promote tourism, it's going to be very difficult, you would assume, without access to the internet.
Sure, exactly. Whatever about the security implications of not having the internet to be able to contact the outside world. The fact that it's going back more than, in our case, 10 or 20 years when there wasn't internet in other countries, but there was no international phone access. So really, for a business there, this is disastrous. Trying to get your business today, in this day and age, people expect emails, they expect internet access, and they expect a website. And this is going to be very difficult for people in Xinjiang until this is actually lifted.
And still no word as to when that is going to be lifted.
Indeed.